CTV News at 11:30 with Ian Campbell and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for staying up with us. It's been a big day for northern communities and the Ontario mining sector as a whole. Billions of dollars pledged today into our region and new relationships that promise to last a generation. Let's start in Kapuskasing, where Kap Minerals, a Canadian critical minerals company, and Hanwa, one of Japan's leading global trading and industrial material companies, signed a new memorandum of understanding. It would see Hanwa buy and distribute phosphate and rare earth element concentrate from Northern Ontario. The companies would also collaborate to establish processing capacity, including the production and distribution of purified phosphoric acid.
We're the closest to production when it comes to phosphate, but also with our rare earths, we're looking at 24 to 36 months in terms of production timeline. We have RFQs out for EPCM contractors to work with us to design the plant and then work with us to build the facility at Kapuskasing. So we're moving forward quickly.
We've been discussing with Kap Minerals for well over a year now, and actually probably closer to 2, and talking to them about what is it that we can do. We're open for business, and we're wholly accepting of what they have to bring, and we're ready to move.
The Kap phosphate mine is one of the highest grade phosphate deposits in the world. While it's still too early to talk specifics about economic benefit to Kapuskasing, Ivan says there will be a lot of spin-off in the construction phase. He estimates 300 people could be involved in the construction part and another 200 to 250 in its daily operation. Meanwhile, Ontario Mines Minister Stephen Lecce held a news conference today in Toronto with Agnico Eagle Mines. It was to announce the company's planned spending and investment in the province by 2030.
That Agnico Eagle has announced a planned investment of $14 billion. This will represent, for a Canadian mining company, one of the largest to date in our province's history, to expand an existing mine and to open a new mine in the province of Ontario.
Agnico Eagle is planning to invest $12 billion across its operating, development and exploration assets in the province. The Northern Detour Lake Underground Project northeast of Cochrane and the Upper Beaver Gold Copper Project east of Kirkland Lake will see an additional $2 billion invested by the company.
Together, these projects have the potential to support an additional roughly 1,500 jobs, bringing our employment number in Ontario to over 5,500 highly skilled, highly paid workers.
Agnico Eagle is the second largest gold producer in the world, and more than 30% of its production is here in Ontario. Algoma Steel in Sault Ste. Marie is bleeding more red ink. In the first 3 months of this year, the company says it lost nearly $160 million. The company notes that the switch to electric arc steel making and American tariffs heavily impacted the bottom line. Algoma officials say that steel production on the second electric arc furnace will start by the third quarter of this year. In other news, protecting minors from occupational disease, the key focus of Sudbury MPP Jamie West at Queen's Park today. He was joined by Sudbury health and safety advocates inside the legislature. CTV's Lindsay Alick reports.
From exposure to diesel fumes, particulate silica, and other carcinogens, this group says mine workers in the province have a 54% chance of getting lung cancer and 165% chance of getting COPD.
At USW, Local 6500 in Sudbury alone, we have lost 47 workers to occupational disease over the last 2 decades. And that number represents only the workers whose WSIB claims were filed and accepted. Many more cases remain tied up in appeals, and countless non-unionized workers never report their illnesses.
But advocates say it doesn't need to be this way. They are calling on Ontario to join other provinces like BC and Alberta in modernizing occupational exposure limits.
Silica needs to come down from 100 micrograms to 25 micrograms per meter cubed. Diesel particulate also needs to come down to 20 micrograms per meter cubed. These are not radical numbers. These are based on established science.
They say as more mines pop up across the province, the time to change things is now.
In other jurisdictions where the levels are lower, the fans have to run more often to change the air more often. In Ontario, where you're allowed to breathe a little more of the carcinogens, the fans don't have to ramp up as often.
These diseases take 20 to 30 years to show up in a person. The effects of the 1990s are just showing up in my office today. So if we don't get this right, it's going to be decades and generations of families suffering from this.
CTV News reached out to the Ministry of Labour and received a statement which says in part, to address long-term occupational illness, we are taking concrete steps to improve prevention, detection and response. This includes the launch of the first in Canada Occupational Exposure Registry, which allows for better tracking of worker exposures over time and supports earlier intervention. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Sudbury.
We're learning more about a fire last Wednesday in Sudbury at Vale's Clarabelle Mill. The fire chief says about 23 personnel were on scene and the fire was located to the second and third floor. The blaze was extinguished in less than an hour, but crews remained on scene until about 7 a.m. the following day. In a statement to CTV News, Vale says we can confirm that there was an internal incident at Clarabelle Mill last week. All employees were safely accounted for and no injuries were reported.
The cause and origin of the fire is under investigation, so we're not at this time able to determine the cause. It's still being investigated, but it is not suspicious in nature.
Fire Chief Grimwood says Vale will be conducting an investigation. Ontario cabinet ministers face tough questions from northern municipal leaders today during the final day of the annual Phenom Conference in Timmins. CTV's Lydia Chubak reports.
Government working with these institutions.
Municipal leaders lined up at the microphone to press Ontario ministers on their most urgent concerns. The mayor of Temagami is calling for more highway safety measures.
Highway 11 and Highway 17 need some work, and we are losing people in our communities.
The province says it's still waiting to see whether federal government will help fund improvements. In the meantime, the province says it's reviewing the main causes of fatal collisions, including speeding and impaired driving, to determine what more can be done. And it says adding more passing lanes and rest stops could also help improve safety. Espinola's mayor asked about the homelessness crisis.
Very concerning is our street people, where we are with this.
The Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Rob Flack, says the province has increased homelessness prevention funding to $700 million, but says money alone won't fix the problem. To address the housing shortage in the region, Flack would also like to see more home building using northern materials.
We've got a lot of forest here, a lot of lumber that can be put to work, and I'd like to see some more modular homes, factories built up here, because they can get to the communities faster than if they're built down south.
$900 million, more or less, is coming out in the coming months. So as we approach the fall election season, we're happy to entertain applications, new applications for housing enabling, infrastructure funding. That's for water and wastewater, that's for bridges, that's for roads, anything that helps to enable new housing and maintain existing housing.
George Peary, Minister of Northern Economic Development and Growth, told attendees the region's economy is booming because of provincial policies. Associate Minister of Forestry Kevin Holland also highlighted efforts to support the forestry sector, including a $66 million investment in Kap paper and how he's working with the federal government to ensure the mill's long-term viability. The conference ended today, but Phenom officials say they will continue to meet with upper levels of government over the issues that were brought up over the past few days. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Schumacher.
As candidates for council and school boards file their nomination papers for Election Day in October, municipalities are starting the behind-the-scenes prep work. In North Bay, voters will be casting a ballot in this election online only. CTV's Eric Tashner reports.
Election Day may be months away, but preparation is well underway, as voters will only be able to cast the ballot online in North Bay. It will be the first time the city is trying an online-only method, following a hybrid model trial run during the last election.
And it went really well. They were happy with the results that came in. They were confident in the results that came in.
A presentation to council last year highlighted running electronic-only voting would cost $150,000, while an in-person vote with paper ballots would be double that price, while a hybrid election with both options would total up to $350,000. In 2022, 70% of the vote was completed online.
Digitization of services, it's a sign of the times.
There will be 10 days of online-only advance voting and a super poll set up on Election Day. During the voting period, people will be able to use their own devices and vote at home or at an in-person help location in the city.
With staff to help you understand what you're doing.
But there are some concerns for seniors who
don't have the technology, they don't have computers, and they're going to be forced into having somebody help them do it. I know for here it's going to be a hardship for a lot of people.
Political science professor Ian Parenteau says the one downside is municipal election officers lack the expertise of collecting the information gathered by the private companies they work with.
They have the vendors that provide those services, and they have to trust that what they say is the truth.
However, he expects that more smaller municipalities will eventually go down this route since it's all about efficiency in the end.
The systems that have been developed over the years are more robust. So we have more experience.
Everyone is extremely sensitive to hackers and potentials for fraud. If they didn't have 100% confidence in the software they were using, they would not use it.
City officials are also encouraging voters to make sure their information is up to date before casting a ballot this fall. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
A funding announcement in Greater Sudbury has sparked a different kind of conversation, one about parliamentary etiquette and quote-unquote ghosting local representatives. MP Jim Belanger says his office hasn't been notified of federal investment announcements in his riding. CTV's Amanda Hicks reports.
Sudbury MP Vivian Lapointe was in Wanapitei First Nation yesterday announcing over $1 million in federal tourism funding. But absent from the podium was the area's own representative. MP Jim Belanger says this is the third time he's been left off the invite list for an announcement in his riding, twice by Lapointe and once by Nipissing Temiskaming MP Pauline Rushmore.
I have approached MP Pauline Rushmore and Vivian Lapointe and asked that I be involved in when things are happening. I even met with FedNor and asked them to notify me. And so far, nothing, all the time, right? So today, I just want people to know and to be aware what's going on.
Lapointe says she made the announcement on behalf of the federal government, not as a fellow member of Parliament.
FedNor certainly posts all announcements on their social media, so he would certainly be aware of when announcements are being made. He can certainly come to those announcements, but there would be nothing preventing him in attending those. But the spokesperson in this case is the federal government. It is a federal government announcement.
Retired politician Charlie Angus says this tension is common in Canadian politics.
In reality, it's kind of like Mean Girls, and who's ever in government wants to snub those who aren't in government, and so you never get invited, or you're never allowed to speak, or they want to come and make announcements and they don't include you.
Angus says it's a tactic used by governments of all stripes to ensure the party in power gets the credit, regardless of whose riding the event is in. While the process is often criticized, both sides agree the funding itself is good news for the region. Amanda Hicks, CTV News, Sudbury.
Time now for a short break here on CTV News. Coming up, Rick will have your full weather forecast. For now, look at the current conditions. And here's something I don't get to say too often. Kapuskasing the hot spot tonight at 10 degrees, 8 in Timmins, 6 in Timiskaming Shores. Lots of cloud cover making its way across the northeast. Rick will have details after the break.
Tomorrow.
She was my friend, my confidant, my light.
A deadly drug sold to young people who want to die.
We've seen an increase in the number of cases.
Why, after one seller was put behind bars, people are still dying. W5 investigates tomorrow on CTV National News and ctvnews.ca.
I'd like to say that this is a picture of perfection, near perfection anyways, that system of precipitation moving out of the northeast right now. And good riddance. We've got another one coming. We'll get into that in just a moment or so. But again, we had precipitation late last night, overnight, and during the day as well. But we do have some sunshine and some warmer temperatures coming up. Let's have a look. Sudbury Nickel Belt, sunshine tomorrow at 16, sun and cloud Friday 17, chance of showers on Saturday 19, also 19 on Sunday, sun and cloud. Monday, cloud cover 20 for The long weekend, Tuesday, chance of showers at 17. It's better than what we've had the last couple of days and warmer. Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, sunshine at 15 tomorrow. Chance of showers on Friday at 15. Also 15 Saturday, sun and cloud. Sunday, sun and cloud at 16. A chance of showers for a couple of days in the Sault and Algoma. Monday, Tuesday, 18 and 15 your highs. That chance at 40% both days. And again, temperatures near normal, which is a good sign. Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, sunshine tomorrow, 15. Friday, sun and cloud, 17. Chance of showers Saturday, 17 as well. 16 Sunday with the sunshine. Then Monday, Tuesday, a good bet here, 60% chance of showers both days. Your highs listed right now at 17 and 13. So we'll get some warmer weather for a while. It starts to drop off. Temiskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake, gradual clearing tomorrow, 15. Friday, some sun and cloud, 17. Saturday, chance of showers, 19. 18 Sunday, sun and cloud, then the chance of showers both days at 40%. Monday, Tuesday, 19 and 16 your daytime highs. Normally for this time of the year, should be sitting at around 18, so pretty close there. North Bay, West Nipissing, mainly cloudy tomorrow, 15. 17 Friday, sun and cloud. Chance of showers Saturday at 19. Also 19 on Sunday, some sun and cloud. Chance of showers Monday for the holiday, 21. Dropping off to 18 on Tuesday. Also a 40% chance of showers, and 18 is what that temperature should be for this time of the year, nearing mid-May. Ian Campbell, are you ready for the long weekend? We're going to get some warmer temperatures and a little bit of sunshine to boot. Back to you.
I'm ready for it. Thanks, Rick. Sudbury's tennis dome could be closed for the entire summer. The dome was shut down after snow collapsed the structure in March. Sudbury Tennis says all the lights need to be replaced inside the dome, along with most of the net posts. Some of the court surfaces were also damaged by water and ice following the storm. While there's no date yet for the reopening, the group is hopeful the work can be done by August or September. The state of emergency prompted by heavy flooding has been lifted in Billings Township on Manitoulin Island. The community is still above flood level, but Mayor Brian Barker says the dam is able to control the amount of water flowing through. The state of emergency was in place for about a month, and Barker says flood waters peaked at 16 inches above flood level. The next steps for Billings Township is to assess the damage.
Our big concern is our trail system. It was severely damaged. And hopefully we'll be able to get in there sometime within the next week or so and do a proper assessment of the damage. But it's quite extensive, and it is our main tourist attraction, as we mentioned last time we spoke, and we're concerned.
According to the Ministry of Natural Resources, flood warnings continue in the region. Lake Nipissing is over non-damage level despite the intake waters decreasing. This could impact people with docks, boats, boathouses, and homes that are along the shoreline. The town of Mattawa continues to be under a flood warning, though waters are expected to trend downwards through the week. The Temiskaming Dam, which has been discharging water into the upper Ottawa River, is also expected to decrease by Friday. Lake Temagami remains with flood allowance, though water levels are expected to remain high for another 1 to 2 weeks. Still ahead tonight on CTV News. The third and final early bird prize is drawn today at the Canadian Hard of Hearing 50/50 fundraiser. Recent statistics show Northern Ontario's 4 largest cities, including Sudbury, remain in the top 10 across Ontario for the number of fatal drug overdoses last year. CTV's Angela Gemmell reports.
No community wants to be on a list for high opioid-related drug deaths. But across Ontario last year, 4 northern cities made the top 10.
I think that really speaks to some of the real challenges that occur in more northern regions, more remote regions, where there's fewer services. It's much more difficult to access those services.
The Office of Ontario's Chief Coroner compiled opioid toxicity mortality rates for all of 2025. Thunder Bay was at the top, followed by Orillia and North Bay. May. Greater Sudbury took the 4th spot, while Sault Ste. Marie was number 8. Sudbury's medical officer of health says our community has been hard hit by substance use issues.
We've seen over the last 3 years or so that the numbers have been improving, which is, I think, certainly good news, and I think speaks to how we're accomplishing some good things in the community. But we are still much higher than we were maybe 15 years ago.
Dr. Hergy is co-chair for Greater Sudbury's Community Drug Strategy, which just released a call to action responding to the toxic drug crisis. It's meant to provide transparency for the public and will be measured by reductions in overdoses or drug deaths.
We're going to be looking at people's access to get into the care that they need, their ability to get into treatment, and the number of people who feel that they're able to access services without feeling stigma. Those are some of the key things we're working on this year.
The other co-chair of the strategy calls it a coordinated approach by all the partners to address the complex problem.
This really is an opportunity for all of us to be rowing in the same direction, right? We all hold different pieces of the puzzle in regards to a response, and it's about coordinating the action within the community to be able to respond to that.
Dr. Hergy says the call to action will include an annual report card highlighting achievements, challenges, and areas for improvement. But the real measure will be in whether Sudbury can get itself off the coroner's top 10 list. Angela Gamble, CTV News, Sudbury.
This is Victims and Survivors of Crime Week. Today in Sudbury, Angels of Hope Against Human Trafficking held a lunch and learn for service providers and community partners. CTV's Elena Everson reports.
It was a sold-out session focusing on learning in recognition of victims and survivors of Crime Week.
You know, the intersection of homelessness and addictions, and there's vulnerabilities of all different descriptions. With the online presence now, our children and our kids and our families are more vulnerable than ever. So bringing awareness to that.
I feel that we need to know that human trafficking is happening because it could save a life. If someone's able to recognize the signs of human trafficking and know what to do if they do recognize it and make that call.
The session was hosted by Angels of Hope Against Human Trafficking.
Angels of Hope started from my kitchen table in 2015, and up to date we've supported more than 400 survivors and their loved ones. Anything pertaining to healing and support.
Organizers say the session is about learning to build unshakable trust for victims through effective collaboration of community partners.
It's the spirit of collaboration, and it's really exciting to bring a room full of people that work in that space to have an open dialogue and a discussion amongst ourselves and just bring that to fruition rather than just in theories.
Another goal of the Lunch and Learn is affirming a shared commitment of supporting victims and survivors of crime with integrity, respect, and accountability. Ellen Everson, CTV News, Sudbury.
Safety dominated discussions today in Sault Ste. Marie as federal representatives met with area law enforcement leaders. Organized by Sioux MP Terry Sheehan, Canada's Secretary of State for Combating Crime, was in the city to discuss government action on crime while hearing concerns of local officials. Sioux Police as well as Ontario Provincial Police leaders from the Sioux, Wawa and Blind River were in the room. There were 8 pieces of legislation that government officials spoke about, among those Bill C-14, which relates to bail reform, and Bill C-16 on intimate partner violence.
We sat down and talked about 8 different pieces of legislation that we have currently going through the parliamentary process. We talked about other issues of concern that they wanted to identify as top priorities. Intimate partner violence had definitely come up in that conversation.
Listening to the people that are literally serving the people on our roads, keeping us safe, is really important when we're creating legislation, because they have a perspective of seeing what's happening and what's not happening. So they gave us some really good ideas, and I'm very pleased to hear them.
The 2 federal ministers also met with local intimate partner violence groups Caitlin's Herd and Angie's Angels earlier today. Well, finally for us tonight, the 3rd and final Early Bird Prize winner was drawn today in the Canadian Hard of Hearing Association Dream 50/50 fundraiser.
Congratulations to Ron Fairhall of Hanmer. Way to go, Ron.
Ron won a Via Rail Canada rail vacation. He has the option to take the vacation or the cash value of the vacation at $35,000. The main draw for the big jackpot is midnight, May 19th. The jackpot is sitting at nearly $110,000 and tickets are still available. Congratulations, Ron. What a prize. That takes us to the end of our newscast this Wednesday night. For the latest news anytime, remember you can head to our website, ctvnewsnorthernontario.ca. You can also download our CTV News app. Thanks for watching. Good night.